Two boys harass a little old lady the night before Halloween. The next night, she gives them a wooden vulture's foot that grants wishes and curses.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is Ruining Our Childhood Presents.
Are we still afraid of the dark?
Question? A weekly podcast where we rewatch the childhood classic. Are you afraid of the dark?
Why did you pause?
I forgot the name of the show.
Oh.
I'm not
Hi,
smart.
guys.
How are you?
Welcome to episode 4. And this week we watched The Tale of the Twisted Claw.
Yes. I don't get why they would choose a vulture's claw as this magical object that would have wishing powers.
It is weird, but the thing I didn't say when I read the summary was in a twist of the monkey paw story. So that's like a folk tale.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they changed it because they were afraid to get sued. And what was the twist? Because
Yeah.
it seemed pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. There was no twist there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it was creepy looking.
It was. I would say all little flying objects, little foots, are creepy. They're like little.
That's a weird way of saying
Yeah,
that.
little foots.
Little foots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was creepier than a monkey's paw. Actually, I think a monkey's paw would be creepier because, like, a mammal.
Yeah.
It
Because
seems, I don't know.
we eat birds. We eat chicken and stuff like that.
We eat monkeys.
We
No,
do not eat monkeys. So, yeah.
That's true. It's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this episode?
It was something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not give it away.
Nope.
Do you want to read the first category?
Yes, as we always start with, well, hello there, where we talk about any famous or recognizable actors that we didn't know were in the episode. And there was a couple.
There was?
Well, our old friend, Jason Tremblay, was Bostic?
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Okay. Okay, Jason Tremblay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was more focused on the two boys and the old lady, which were the main characters
Mm-hmm.
of the story.
Yes.
I did see that both the boys actors, that they don't really act, but they were credited in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone as miscellaneous crew.
I noticed last week one of the people from the episode, I think it was the little ghost girl, had the same exact credit. She was miscellaneous crew from Sorcerer's Stone.
Interesting.
So maybe they just provided like background voices or something, or maybe they were actually on the crew.
Well, or maybe they were one of the extra children.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the Great Hall in those scenes, there's a lot of children running around, so who knows?
Oh yeah, there's at least 300 kids in that, of which they focus on 7.
Yeah. I didn't have anybody, and I totally missed the Jason Tremblay.
Oh.
So, did you have anybody else?
No, that was it.
Okay. What were you going to say? I felt like I was going to cut you off.
I didn't realize it was him until I looked at the IMDb.
Oh.
So, that's when I was like, oh, that's Jacob
You
Tremblay.
said it right. Okay.
No.
It sounded like you said I am beady, which I say all the time.
It's like I am beady eyes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next category. Let's get digging, where we talk all about the plot and more notably the plot holes, because this is a child show made in the 90s and it was a different time.
Yeah.
Not to say that children's shows today probably are filled with a lot of plot holes. I don't really watch them as much as I used to, so
No.
I couldn't tell you.
And when I was a kid, I didn't pick up on any.
No, unless they were really, really bad.
Yeah.
I was definitely that kid that was like, that doesn't add up.
Well, I will say you watch things and read things with a much more critical eye or ear when you're into stuff, and you will pick up on, that doesn't make sense right away on stuff.
Or when there's mysteries and you don't know who the killer is, I usually can catch that stuff pretty quickly.
Yes. I rarely do.
It's a blessing and a curse because I ruin a lot of things for myself because I can't just get into it. I have to figure it out in my brain.
I try to do it.
Oh.
I just do it incorrectly. What did you think of the plot?
I thought it was fine. It was good. There was a neighborhood witch. So basically it's about these two boys who, on Fright Night, which is the night before Halloween, I'm not into that, go and assault an old lady.
Yes.
Because the door opens, they spray shaving cream in her face, and then it makes her scream and flail about, and she breaks the vase, and I felt so bad for her.
I felt terrible for her.
Yeah.
But then she just stood there doing a sadistic laugh. She's like, I'm going to get these little shits back.
I did put that as one of my red alerts, because, yeah.
Yeah.
Creepily laughing. While they're not that far away, they probably heard it. They're like, oh.
Yeah, they took 2 steps away, and she's like, you're gonna die. She just stopped just short of saying that at those kids.
Mentally, she was thinking it. So she kind of exacts her revenge by giving these boys a wooden claw when they go back on Halloween to trick-or-treat, because they're like, you know what we should do after we assault a lady? Go back to her house and try to get free candy.
The next night.
The
house that no one goes to because everyone's like, she's a witch.
Because everybody has a neighborhood witch.
I don't know that we had witches, but there was always like, you stay away from that house was the thing. Like, everyone has that neighbor that they're like, oh, you don't go trick-or-treating at that house. They're weirdos.
Yeah.
Which in my case, I went trick-or-treating on the street that my mom grew up on. I have no idea why, but that's where she took us. And we always went to my grandpa's house. And she would point out, like, that person's a weirdo. You don't go to that house. That person's a weirdo. And I'm like going, but they're giving away Kit Kats. I want a Kit Kat.
I feel like you said Kit Kat weird.
I don't know.
I thought you said Kit Kats.
Giving away Kit Kats.
There's definitely always at least one house where you're like, oh, stay away from them. And it could be for the stupidest reason. Like, they never mowed their lawn. That's usually what my dad would choose as a weird one. Or
I could see your dad doing that.
Yeah.
He would yard shame. Yard shame and trash can shame.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the only person I've ever been out with in public, and he was like, I need to get home because I need to pull my trash can to the backyard before the old guy down the street does it for me.
Yeah.
It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I gotta get home.
My dad is, especially in his older age, become more nosy and more like that. It's like a competition between neighbors for the nicest yard. Mm-hmm. And apparently, at one point, he did have a neighbor where the guy one-upped him, and he did not like that.
Yeah. It didn't help the guy was like 85 years old, pulling trash cans up for everyone, and I think that probably played into your dad's thing, was like, you're too old, you go stay home, I can do my own stuff.
I feel like that guy was probably just doing it to be nice, and he's probably retired and doesn't have a lot going on. Yeah. My dad took it as, you're trying to say that I'm a shit neighbor, and I don't pull my trash can.
I can't take care of my own yard.
Yeah.
I got news for you, Mr. Dickerson. I can take care of my own shit.
Anyway, neighbors.
Stay away from them.
So, obviously, she gives them this claw, and it grants wishes. 3 each, which is really convenient. And obviously, things don't go well.
Do you think after this episode aired, there was a run on kids going and finding chicken claws and trying to make wishes?
Possibly. Or maybe there's a run of kids like, I'm going to assault my neighbor so they can give me a thing that grants wishes.
The night after this episode aired, assaults on neighbors went up 78%.
Horrible.
So sad.
What about the plot holes? I mean, we've already discussed a couple, I'm sure, but...
I really didn't have any that jumped out at me.
What?
Go ahead. You go. You give me yours.
First off.
Okay.
Right off the bat, it comes in the middle of a story. It's Eric's turn. He's telling a story that's not finished yet. Apparently they do that. You know, spitballing some ideas. Mm-hmm. And then David decides to tell a story. And they're like, oh, you haven't told the story in a while. He told the story last week.
Yes, he did.
He told the story of the haunted ghost child.
And the story that Eric was telling was creepy as shit.
Yeah, there was a kid with a dream.
It
And
looked like a Dementor came in.
Yeah.
It was scary as hell.
Yeah. But, so David tells the story. So that was the first plot hole, was he hadn't told a story in a while.
Yeah.
Except he did it last week, guys. Come on, guys.
Damn you, Betty Ann.
Betty Ann, she's crazy.
Yeah.
I love her. Anyway, I put the scene, the running scene, in under the plot holes because it was just amazing.
That was my funniest part of the
Okay,
episode.
so we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll wait a couple minutes. That's pretty much all I had. It was a lot of notes about the running scene. Other than just the end was kind of a plot hole. I know they learned a lesson in the sense that a lot of bad things could have happened unless they realized that what they did to the old lady was kind of shitty.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't apologize to her face. And then at the end of the episode, there's the vase that broke shows up on Dougie's doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you have to take it to the old lady and apologize. They don't do that.
They didn't do that.
No.
But there was the implication that that was going to happen, I would
guess.
assume.
There
but
wasn't closure, Ryan. And I need closure in my children's
I agree with you.
shows.
There should have been some closure.
So let's move on to our funniest part.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead with yours because we can discuss it for a minute.
My funniest part, which I was confused at first, they're both taking turns making wishes.
Yes.
And Kevin makes a wish that he wants to beat Bostwick in the 1600. And when he said that, I didn't go to track in that scene. I was thinking he wants to go to the 1600s and beat a kid? What kind of wish is that? I was genuinely confused, and I ran track. So when they're outside, and I was like, oh, he meant a race. Okay. But they're having the race, and Bostwick's in the lead, and all of a sudden you hear this real, like, sinister music.
Yes.
And a dog runs in front of him. Bostwick trips. That's all that happens. The dog doesn't maul him. It
looked like it was going to maul him. They were setting it up. He was growling.
Exactly. The music and the growling, it set it up. You're going, oh my God, that kid's going to die. No, the dog runs in front of him. He trips. He breaks his leg. Which then, my favorite part, though, was Kevin leaps over him, and he's, like, pumping his fist like he's the best runner ever.
That was my cringiest part, because he was just going like this, and then there was a creepy laugh track.
Yeah.
While he was doing it.
It was
weird.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, when the dog first came out, and they kept shooting Bostic running, and then they were shooting the dog, and they were kind of going back and forth for a second, and I was thinking, how are they going to pull off this where a kid gets mauled? Like, how bad is this going to look? And then it didn't even happen.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, they're going to literally show this dog lunge at a kid and just sink his teeth in?
Yeah.
Nope, curveball, just runs in front of him.
Right? It was an interesting thing.
It was hilariously cringy.
My funniest part of the episode was actually a couple minutes before that. Like you had said, his first wish was that he would beat Bostic at the race. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was funny when he was like, it's gonna give me something that I always wanted since I was a kid. Kevin, honey, you're a child. What do you mean when you're a kid?
You're still a kid, you weirdo.
It was amazing. It made me chuckle.
God, it was good.
So, what was your cringiest part?
My cringiest part is they encounter this bicycle gang?
Right.
Not a biker gang. Bicycle gang.
Yes.
Which I would say all those kids were old enough to be driving.
Probably.
And they were credited as thugs. They take off after the kids. The one, like, awkwardly trips over a bike, but really badly acts that he's tripping after him. But some of the bikes are like, when we catch them, we pound them.
Yeah.
It's just
for
terrible.
Candy.
And they're like, candy gives you cavities.
Oh yeah, the creepy girl said that. And by the way, they're wearing these weird, like, Purge.
Yeah.
The movie Purge masks.
It was creepy.
They were really creepy.
What was your cringiest part?
I already told you. So good listening, right?
I apologize because we were out of... Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
I do listen.
Do you?
Yes.
So want to move on to the next category? That's
Yes.
all you, bud.
Our next category is woo woo red flag alert. Were there any signs that these kids were just going to be statistics in a ghost story?
We really need to rewrite that because it trips you up every single time.
I get tripped up over anything. I just got tripped up over that.
You got tripped up over saying tripped up over.
Yes.
We're amazing, guys. I don't know if you know that. The first one, we already kind of talked about it. Old lady creepily laughing.
Yeah.
First sign.
And then the next night, you go to her house and she tells you you are the only kids that would trick or treat at her house, and she invites you in.
Don't go into her house. How many times do we have to tell you this, children?
What is wrong with you? You don't go into a stranger's house.
Especially when you assaulted them the night before. That's, not a good plan.
If this wasn't a kid's show, when she invites them into the house, she immediately closes the door, clubs them from behind, and now those kids are in a torture chamber. But it's a kid's show, so it didn't go that dark.
You want to say torture chamber again?
Torture chamber. What did I say?
You said, like, torture chamber.
Torture chamber.
I'm just...
Said it like Tracy Morgan would.
Yeah.
Everybody getting pregnant.
Anyway. Yeah, that, and then the next part was, I'm going to give you a special treat. How are you falling for this, guys? You literally assaulted her. And she saw you. You weren't wearing masks. You didn't borrow the creepy purge masks from the teenagers on the bikes. You knocked on her door. They actually didn't even knock on her door, by the way. It just opened.
Yeah.
They walked for the door, it opened, and they're like...
Let's shaving cream her.
Yeah. So...
Assault's funny.
But anyway, if a woman that you assaulted the night before hands you a claw of a vulture...
Yeah.
And says it grants wishes, do you think that's some sort of reward for assaulting a woman?
Being the shittiest kids in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, they now give out prizes for that.
Dumb children.
Ugh, stupid asses.
Dumb children. Also, don't go by the teenagers in the creepy masks.
Yeah.
They, like, walked towards them.
They did.
I would have seen them and have been like, okay, avoiding conflict.
Go in the other direction.
That's what I'm good at, is avoiding conflict.
I'd be like the video of the little kid. He's like 2, and he walks in the room, and he sees him, and he's like, oh, and he just turns around and walks out. That would be me.
That's me in my whole life.
Yeah.
Did you have any other red flag alerts?
No, that was the only major one.
Okay, we'll move on to our next category. When was this made again? A reminder of everything 90s. Fashion, dated references, and technology. Any fashion from you?
Oh, there was a bunch. We've talked about Kevin, our little shaving cream assaulter. He was wearing this real weird multicolored hat that you could only get away with wearing in 1992.
There was some neon colors on it.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been like paint splashed, which was the big thing in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I hope that never comes back. I feel like it kind of came back a couple years ago with the acid wash, like splash jeans.
Yeah.
But
there was a line of athletic hats when I was a kid where it was a paint splash, and they were literally called, like, I think that's what they were called, were paint splash, but I had like a Miami Dolphins one, and the NFL put them back out this year.
Oh man.
Because my brother sent me a thing like, dude, they put out the paintbrush ones and the shark tooth hats, because that was the other one. It looked like shark teeth.
Sure.
And I'm like, why?
Because the 90s are back in full effect.
Yeah, people were going, 1994, that was some good fashion.
Like, I want things back from the 90s, better economy, less violence and death in the world, seemingly. Some of the fashion is not not the top of my list.
Yeah, definitely not.
The one part of the fashion that I noticed was all the teenage bullies were wearing the essentials of 90s teenagers, and one had a plaid shirt with one rolled up sleeve.
Gangsta.
Yeah. And then another one was just wearing a leather jacket, which whenever I see anybody with a leather jacket, especially if they're playing a bully, I just think of Harvey from Boy Meets World.
Harley
Whatever.
Kiner.
Harley Kiner.
I don't understand why they have to associate bandanas and leather jackets as that's the international thug wardrobe.
Because that's what it was in the 90s. It was leather jackets. You were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you owned a motorcycle, or maybe you're thinking about owning a motorcycle when you get your license.
Or you're owning a sweet BMX in these kids' cases.
And then plaid was just, rock and roll, 90s grunge. So.
90s grunge. The bandanas, I just think that's a lazy wardrobe department of, here you go, you're going to be the bad guy, so you got to wear a bandana, you got to wear a leather jacket, you got to wear plaid. It did start
to become cliche because if you think of all the shows in the 90s that whenever, especially crime shows, whenever there was like a gangster, I'm using air quotes, or a thug, it was usually, that was the wardrobe was bandanas and leather jackets, and or if they were Mexican, it was wife beaters, which they still do dress people like that in movies. I don't know if people are walking around with this. I mean, people wear wife beaters, I guess.
Yeah.
Tank tops.
Doesn't make you...
Wife beaters is not a PC term.
Very true. A thug.
Yeah.
I do remember when I was a dispatcher, we had a dispatcher dispatch a call as the subject is wearing a wife beater.
You said dispatch a lot.
I said that 3 times. I apologize. And I remembered that.
But I do remember that.
Yeah, the supervisor, I thought her head was going to explode. Yeah.
You should not say that on a radio.
No.
Also, Dougie's mullet. Dougie is there's 2 boys in this story, and Dougie is the more timid one.
Mm-hmm.
But they both weren't too bad. No, usually in each of these stories, there's one that's like overly confident or kind of an asshole, and I don't think either of them were really that big of an asshole.
But he was definitely the more timid of the 2.
Yeah.
I noticed when they were at school and Kevin wishes to beat the kid in the race, a bunch of kids walked by in kind of like a ski jacket style coat, and they all had weird pastel but neon at the same time, squares and patterns. I totally had one of those as a kid. Rocked the crap out of it. Loved it.
Oh, and Dougie's shirt that last scene when he... What's the other kid's name? Kevin. I almost said Frank. Kevin said that he wished his parents were gone.
Yeah.
To Dougie. He wished Dougie's parents were gone. And he gets a call. But his shirt is just so many patterns, so many colors.
And the collar was so stretched out.
Yeah.
I didn't think his shoulders were wide enough to keep the shirt on him. I was waiting for it to just slide down him.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Did you have any other fashion?
The very last one I had was when they kind of have the track meet, which isn't on a track. It's like in a field. Yeah. They're all wearing the same outfit. It's a white t-shirt and blue shorts. But then there's one kid. He's kind of tall and lanky. So the shorts were super short.
But I felt like they were like khaki colors. He had different shorts.
Oh.
He just wanted to show off his gams.
Showing off them thighs.
Should we move on to dated reference or offensive jokes?
Yes, we shall.
Your joke just offended me.
Yes, it did. Right away, it was the initial story, the one that Eric's showing.
Mm-hmm.
The kid's room is a bunch of sports athletes, and right away I picked up on my boy, Bernie Kosar, being on a poster, and he also had John Elway, but screw that. Bernie Kosar!
So he's just hot for any quarterback, apparently.
Yeah.
He was hot.
And apparently he was hot for mediocre Cleveland Brown ones.
Aw.
He was my favorite.
I did notice in that same scene, the kid had a bunch of glow stars on his ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were a kid in the 90s and you didn't have glow stars, were you even cool?
I didn't have them.
Oh.
I was not cool. Thanks for bringing it up.
Awkward.
The other one that I had was, I believe it was Dougie's house. They had the bluest entryway ever.
They did. It was wallpaper.
Wallpaper with like a floral pattern.
Yeah.
But it kind of almost looked like clouds. And then it was just royal blue.
When it came on screen, I was like, whoa. It was so bright.
So bright. Did you have any other ones?
No, that was it. Do you want to move on to technology?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any?
Going back to our first initial story that Eric was telling, when they're panning through the kid's room, he had this alarm clock that was a motorbike.
Yeah.
Weird.
It was awesome.
Yeah. That was the only one that I had.
The only thing I had was the old-ass telephone that Dougie has in his house that when he answers it, some cop tells a child that his parents have been in a car accident, by the way. Plot hole right there. but he swings it around and breaks it. But that was pretty much it. It was just the telephone and the clock from the first story. Do you want to move on to our awards?
Yes. As always, we give out 2 awards every week, the first of which is the Kel Mitchell Award for Exceptional Overacting. Whom did you give your award to?
I kind of went back and forth. I just ended up giving it to Bostic, Jason Tremblay again.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling it out again. I gave it to him without even realizing it was Jason Tremblay. But I should have known because his screaming when he doesn't get mauled by the dog was nothing short of not great.
Yeah. His reaction, you would have thought he got shot in the back.
Yeah.
With the way he's just like, wow.
But, I mean, also the acting sucked. It was...
Yeah.
He just went, ah!
My leg is broken.
Yes. So, I gave it to him.
Call an ambulance. Sorry.
Ryan's just replaying the whole scene.
Yes.
Who was yours?
I gave it to Noah Pleener. That was the person that plays Dougie.
Okay, yeah.
I thought he was pretty weak. Like you point out when he ripped out the phone, it was just...
It almost became my funniest moment because it was just somebody that was definitely overacting, like somebody that was being over dramatic. And for some reason, it reminded me of a play where it's like, now spin around.
Yes.
And
spin and act like you ripped the phone out of the wall. And he was like, okay.
Which, I mean, the reaction makes sense in this sense that I was trying to say something other than in the sense that, in the sense, I don't know.
In the Sixth Sense?
No. In that he just got a call saying his parents were in a really bad accident. It didn't say they were dead because this is the children's show, but it implied it. It implied that they weren't going to make it. So him, ripping the phone and being upset is natural to me, but the way he did it was not.
I did like how Kevin wishes that Dougie's parents disappeared, and instantaneously they get the phone call.
Yeah, that magic is quick. Quick magic.
Yes.
They only got 20 minutes to explain the story, so. Do you want to do the next award?
Yeah.
The Kenan Thompson Award for just doing the best under the circumstances. Who was your pick?
I gave it to an actress named Anne Page. She's the one that played the witch, Miss Clove. Mm-hmm. I thought she brought some credibility with her acting, and she was very creepy and sinister.
Her laugh was very sinister.
Yeah. When a kid shaving creams you in the face and your natural reaction isn't like, I'm going to murder you. Well, actually, that's probably what her thought was.
At first, she was very sad.
Yeah, but then she just went into...
Yeah. Her initial reaction was like, if a lady got shaved cream in the face like a sweet old lady, that would make me cry if some kid did it to me now.
Yeah.
I'd
cry.
Because she lives alone. She has no family.
But she got him back.
Well, she got her revenge, and that's what she lives for. I wish I would have picked her, but I actually gave it to Kevin, who I don't even know the actor's name.
Maxwell Medeiros?
Okay. Because I felt like he did a really good job with his scenes. Mm-hmm. He was kind of the more jaded one, and the one that was kind of pushing Dougie to do things.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that wanted to go up to the house, the witch's house, and he made the wishes, I felt like, that had worse outcomes because his resulted in a kid's leg being broken.
Kid's leg being broken? Yeah. And his friend's parents, under the impression they died.
Yeah, all Dougie did was wish that they weren't trick-or-treating anymore, which I don't get. You don't want candy? Okay. And then he wished that his grandpa was there.
Yeah. That's a sweet kid.
Yeah. And then he was the one that just realized, no, we have to wish that we would have never done what we did. Mm-hmm. And Dougie wasn't good at talking.
No, he was not.
So I gave it to Kevin because I felt like he had better delivery in his dialogue.
Very true.
So we'll move on to our final thoughts. Do you think this episode deserves a enthusiastic Betty Ann thumbs up or a reluctant Eric thumbs up?
I'm giving it a huge Betty Ann.
Same.
I really liked the episode. I like the way it started. I was very intrigued by what was going on with the Dementor in the kid's bedroom.
Yes.
And then they hit us with a curveball. Little dipshit kids pull a bad prank. and they pay for it.
I will say, I mean, it's something that's been done before.
Mm-hmm.
With, it's be careful what you wish for. That's the lesson of this, is that even free wishes, that something bad can happen, or your wishes may be misconstrued into something bad, or something good might happen to you, but something bad will happen to somebody else.
The only thing I'll say was they had shitty wishes.
I mean, they're 12.
But when I was 12, I still would have asked for $1 gajillion. That's correct. That form of money.
Yes.
All the video games in the world, something.
Yeah, that's true.
He wished to not be trick-or-treating. Another one wishes that his friend's parents go away.
Well, if you think about it, they're not actually sitting there. The only one that they really did formally, where he wanted to actually get his wish granted, was to win the race. Whereas the other ones, it's just he said it.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said it, because he said, I wish your parents weren't around, or I wish your parents were gone. I also gave it a Betty Ann because it was just a good story, and I think they have been getting increasingly better. I don't know if they'll be consistent and stay that way, but...
I will say, I kind of mention this usually every week, this would have scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yes.
And it held up pretty decently almost 30 years later. Lady. I can't talk.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're just a host on a podcast.
Who needs to be able to talk well?
Talking. Talk while talking. So yeah, this is a good episode, guys. So if you can, check it out and feel nostalgia run through your body.
And while you check out this episode, next time you're checking out some podcasts, maybe you'll check out the regular Ruining Our Childhood,
where we discuss movies.
The OG podcast,
where we discuss our childhood favorites. And decide if they hold up. Similar to this, but, movies. It's not that hard to understand.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, so thanks so much for listening. If you can get a moment, go ahead and check out our social media. And Instagram is one of them.
Instagram, Facebook, at Ruining Our Childhood.
MySpace? No, that's not.
No, not
that's
MySpace.
not a thing anymore.
Foursquare?
No. I don't know.
Twitter
is one of them.
We're on Twitter, yeah.
At ROC Moviecast.
Moviecast. Movie podcast.
ROC Movie Podcast.
Yeah. So you guys
also, if you can get a moment, because this is a newer podcast, we would love it if you could leave a review on either iTunes, if you're listening there, or Google Podcasts. Just something so we can, know that we're doing okay.
And it'll help you find podcasts that are probably similar to ours. If you're out there subscribing to this, they'll probably recommend some other good ones. Maybe like our other good one.
Yeah. But thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.